Flash Professional includes a built-in debugging tool we can use to look deep into our code while a project is running. This lesson will demonstrate how to use this tool. So here we see we have a document open, and this document has a movie clip symbol instance with an instance name of icon, and we also have an actions layer with a little bit of action script in it. And within this action script, we're adding an event listener to the icon of type event.enterFrame. Every time we enter a frame, we're going to invoke this function. Here's the function definition. So function animate horizontally, where we pass in that event. So I'm tracing out a number of numbers here for both the position of our icon along the x-axis and the position at which I want it to actually stop. I need to make it stop because I'm comparing those two positions down here, and so long as x is less than this actual stopping point that I've defined based upon the stage width and the size of our icon instance, I'm going to continue to increase the x position of our icon by 3, effectively animating it from left to right across the stage. So these trace statements, I can just comment out using a multi-line comment, just like that. So a multi-line comment can be used with /* and closing at */. So let's actually run this just to see what it does. So to do that, we'll go to Control, Test Movie, and Test. So there it goes across the stage, and it hits the stopping point and stops. But what if we want to monitor that when we're testing our movie? Well, we can use simple trace statements, but they only show us what we explicitly tell it to show. What if we actually want to see a number of other details of this object or our entire movie or any of the other objects within our movie? To do that, we can use what's known as a breakpoint. To set breakpoints, we simply click along these numbers here in our Actions panel. When you see a red dot, that means a breakpoint has been set. So now, to actually use a breakpoint, we have to run the debugger. To do that, we go to Debug, Debug Movie, and click Debug. So this brings us into our debug workspace. We can see up here it has switched automatically for us to debug. And what we're going to do is go through each one of these little panels that's available to us in debug mode. So this panel up here describes for us which scene or symbol, layer, and frame our particular breakpoint has paused at. We can see that things are actually paused right now in our movie. And that's because we've hit through this loop here, and we can tell by this little arrow on our breakpoint that we've actually paused right here. This code window allows us to see exactly at which line we're at in our code execution. In our output window here, it gives us messages periodically. So we can see that it launches the player and it tells us which SWIF is being debugged. And here it spits out some more SWIF information, and it tells us how many bytes after decompression the SWIF takes up. So along the side here, we've got these panels, and these are really important because this is where all our code introspection can take place. So here we can see we have a number of variables defined, and we can see name and value. So if we just want to look within this event itself, we can twirl this down. We can see whether the event bubbles, whether it's cancelable, the current target, event phase, target, and type. So some of the important ones here, we can see that the type is of type enterFrame, which of course we know because that's what we've defined right here. If we twirl down target, target is going to be whatever this event listener was actually added to. So this is going to represent our actual icon. So if we go down here, we can even see that the name, so the instance name of this movie clip symbol is icon. And we can also monitor the X position right here. So icon X that we're checking for is also represented right here. We can also look at this. Now this is a keyword in ActionScript that represents the current scope. In this case, the current scope is actually our entire movie. So we are able to see our movie from the very top, from the stage, and we can see here is our actual icon. We can see that it is a flash.display.movieclip instance, and that right now it's not playing, so it doesn't have its own individual timeline. And we can see just everything about it. So this is hugely important in complicated applications. If you want to check any sorts of variables, the states of different things, you can do it from here. It's very, very easy to do so. And all you need to do is set breakpoints. Now, while this is running, we can set additional breakpoints. So if we want to check every time we enter that loop, we can even remove that one and just set it. So if these conditions are met, then we want to break. So let's hit play again, and we can see that, of course, it stops right there. If we hit play again, we can actually go forward in time a few frames and check our event, target, X position. We can see it's 143 now. Do it again. And it's 146, so it's incrementing by 3 as expected. Up here we have additional controls to step over, step in, or step out. And these have to do with where you actually are in some sort of execution block. So if we step over here, you can see that it just steps over that entire thing and goes to the end of our entire function, for instance. So to actually close out of here, what we're going to do is hit this little X, and that's going to end our debug session. And we're back in our normal workspace that we came out of, in this case, Essentials. So this lesson has been a demonstration of the Flash Professional Debugger and how to use it.